AI integration. Dr. Fennick designs and oversees field-based systems that prepare future educational leaders across the state. Her research explores the intersection of leadership, productivity, and ethical decision-making, particularly through the lens of emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. Dr. Fennick has presented nationally, including at the American Educational Research Association, and has led professional development for educators and higher education leaders on time optimization, strategic communication, and AI implementation. She is the founder of Consult Dr. Michelle LLC, a consulting firm that equips professionals with actionable tools for sustainable leadership and personal success. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome the incredible, the exceptional, and the awe-inspiring Dr. Michelle Fennick.
Time. Time is powerful and time is nebulous. If you think about it, you can't touch time. You can't taste it and you can't smell it. However, many people report that they can definitely feel it. And think about the quotes associated with time. Time is of the essence, meaning we have to act fast and strike while the iron is hot. We had a time last night, and we know what that means. Also, time is money, meaning that time is precious and valuable. So today we are going to delve into our relationship with time. This presentation is titled, Master Your Time, Master Your Life. For the purposes of our conversation today, we will cover 6 essential salient topics associated with time: your why, SMART goals, what to say no to, technological implements, the power and importance of being present, and finally, lessons learned. If you think about it, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And when we master our time, it allows us to master our life and maximize our outcomes. Now let's move a little bit into the why. That why is so important with time management. When we know our why, it allows us to be goal-driven. It empowers us. It energizes us. It helps us to understand our core motivations. And when we know our why, it helps us to prioritize our task. You may not recognize the person in this picture. Well, I want to share with you that that is little Michelle. Little Michelle did not have to organize her time. That little girl that you see in the picture was very blessed. She lived with her very doting grandmother and very loving mother, and she was the apple of their eye. Time management wasn't a priority for little Michelle. However, as little Michelle has grown, she has found out that she must hold on to her why so that she can manage her time, manage her life, and achieve goals. So again, I want to share with you little Michelle And we are going to move through time and move to present day. So on one side, you see a little Michelle. And on the other side, you see the Michelle of today. Well, Michelle today has to prioritize time. And why is that? Because Michelle of today has goals. There are spiritual goals. I must manage my time to ensure that I have quiet time and that I take care of myself personally. I have financial goals. And so I must manage my time so that I can attend to those matters. I also have intellectual goals. I must carve out time to ensure that I'm intellectually stimulated. And I have physical goals. I have to take care of my health. And so I must budget my time accordingly so that I can attend to all of those matters. Additionally, our why. Let's unpack it even more. Your why is that thing that makes you jump out of the bed in the morning. Your why is the thing that makes you not hit the snooze button. It's the thing that no matter how tired you are, you put those tennis shoes on and you make it to the gym and you stay once you arrive at the gym. So for some of us, our why stems from those that preceded us. And if you'll look here, I have a depiction of all of those individuals that have shaped my why. My grandmother, my great grandmother, my father, my mother, my beautiful daughter, my husband, all have contributed to my why. When I think about those that preceded me, making me a fourth generation educator, I know that my time is valuable and that I must manage it, that I must budget those things that are important. I must continue what they started. I must acknowledge their sacrifice and ensure that I continue to pay it forward. Additionally, there are close and priceless relationships presented here. So I must carve out time to nurture those relationships. And so this is my why. And as we discuss time management, I want you to consider your why. Questions to ponder as you consider your why. What is your God-given purpose? What makes you want to jump out of the bed in the morning? What keeps you motivated? What energizes you? Well, if you know the answer to those questions, you have unpacked and identified your why. I absolutely love this quote. The quote is, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Abraham Lincoln. So what does that mean? That means that when you have a task to do, you must be prepared. You must plan ahead. You must be proactive. You must seek out the appropriate resources. And you want to work smarter, not harder. You want to ensure that the time that you spend working is impactful and effective. So, how can we do that? How can we take that principle and ensure that we are working smarter and not harder? Well, I want to share a goal setting technique that also describes the impact of the technique. SMART goals. Now, many of you are educators and you operate in various capacities. And there are times where you establish SMART goals for the organizations that you support and on the teams that you lead. And I'm here to tell you, you are an organization, an entity. You deserve to have SMART goals. You are the CEO of your life. And so for your goals, you can establish SMART goals. And what are they? They are specific, meaning you want to make sure that you identify who's involved in accomplishing this goal, that they're measurable, that you can actually put a number to what it is that you want to accomplish. It must be achievable. It has to be something that is reasonable. For instance, if I had a weight loss goal, it's not reasonable for me to lose 20 pounds tomorrow. However, it is achievable for me to lose 20 pounds by this time 2 months from now. Also, that it is relevant, that it means something to you so that you can be motivated. Finally, you want to establish that it has a time bound. So I want to share my personal SMART goal with you. And for anyone in higher education, I know this will resonate with you. So my SMART goal statement is, I will submit 2 scholarly publications for peer review by December 15th, 2025, with one focused on time-saving strategies, because I love time-saving strategies in educational leadership, because that is my bucket filler, and the other aligned with research on women's leadership in academia, which is my absolute heart. I will dedicate 2 hours each week to writing and revision, track progress using a project planner, and ensure all materials meet the submission guidelines of the selected journals. Now, let's unpack that. Did I hit the mark with SMART goals? Let's look at it. Yes, my goals were specific. 2 scholarly publications in peer-reviewed journals with the focus of time-saving strategies and educational leadership. Were they measurable? Yes. I can track my weekly writing commitment each week. Achievable. Is this an achievable goal? For those of you who are in higher education, especially those of you who have achieved tenure, you know that this is achievable and relevant. This goal supports my research agenda, so it is absolutely relevant to me and time bound. If you noticed, I set a timeline of December 15th, 2025. And so why did I share this? Because oftentimes when we're in leadership roles, we spend time establishing SMART goals for businesses, organizations, campuses, and other things. But it's so important that our time is spent additionally on helping us to achieve our goals. When we establish those SMART goals, it helps us to know how to utilize our time. So the next template that you see is something that you are going to be gifted with upon the conclusion of our time today. This is a template for you to utilize and develop your own SMART goals for your life, for your goals, so that you can achieve what it is that you intend to do. My next time-saving tip is a really fun one. And although I can't hear you say it, I want you to repeat after me. I want you to say no. I want to try one more time. I know I can't hear you, but I just want you to practice. Say no. I love it. What's interesting is for many women, Saying no is not our default. We typically say yes, thereby not having enough time to do what we need to do. So, no can be very uncomfortable for a lot of women. No, for some women, means denial. It means that you weren't accepted. But when we say no, we can say yes to other things that matter. The art of saying no. It's such a small little word, 2 letters, N-O, and it is a complete sentence. When we say no to things that don't align to our SMART goals, it allows us to have more time to spend on reaching those goals that are important and specific to us. Saying no helps you to prioritize your time and energy. Saying no helps to ensure that all of your actions align to what you were intended to do. And I love it. In the chat, I see people screaming no because you want to ensure that your time is spent on your God-given purpose. And anything that is a distraction, we say no to that. So let's go a little deeper, a little bit deeper. When you have some time, take some time, reflect on it. You don't have to do it today. Think of those habits, those tasks, and those commitments that you're saying yes to. What can you say no to? Remember, oftentimes when you say no, then you have an opportunity to say yes to something else. Also, how do the items on your list align with your why and SMART goals? Some of those items that you're saying yes to, maybe it's brunch, and who doesn't love a good brunch? I love a good brunch. However, if brunch interferes with my writing time, then I must say no. Also, we know brunch can be expensive. So does brunch align with my financial goals? Just fodder for your consideration. Now, this is one of my favorites. As I started really getting into time and doing research around this, I came upon the expert that's out there for time, and his name is David Allen. And he says, you can do anything, but not everything. I'm going to say it again for emphasis. You can do anything, but not everything. Keep that in mind as you look at your list of what you say yes to and no to. It is important that you are aware of what you're saying yes to and what you're saying no to so that you can avoid overcommitment. And here's another favorite. The key is not to prioritize what's on your schedule, but to schedule your priorities. Dr. Stephen Covey, one of my favorites. And now we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty components that many have found helpful. We live in an era where there are incredible technological implements that assist us with time management. For instance, we talked about the importance of those SMART goals. Well, calendar management really helps you to see where your time is spent. For instance, these little phones are actually a little computer, and you can always check to see what your day is going to look like. You calendar everything. And when you go back and reflect, you can see how much time did I spend on my health goals? How much time did I spend on my financial goals? How much time did I spend on my career goals? How much time did I set aside for nurturing important relationships? So calendars help with that. Technological calendars. Additionally, in your family, you can streamline the calendar and share that calendar with other individuals in your family. Also, in your workplace, when others know that your day is already full, then instead of the going back and forth with the calendar, you just share the calendar and they can easily see, oh, Michelle is not available during that time. It looks like she's available here at that time. I'm going to send my invitation for that time. Also, I know I referenced my phone, and if you'll notice, it's right here. Why? Because scheduling and time management requires that you are meticulous. So you're constantly checking to make sure that those things that you do say yes to actually fit your schedule and align with your goals. Also, use alarms and alerts. Today, many of you jumped on, you received your calendar invite, and you were there and present because you received an invitation. So use those alarms. And I'll tell you a secret. I always schedule things kind of early to ensure that I'm there early so that I can get the lay of the land and have a smooth experience when I get ready to jump into something. And be very cognizant of due dates. Again, we don't work up to the due date. We use working up to the due date to refine. We make sure that things are done well ahead of time so that we can show excellence. I want to share another really wonderful source, and that is Calendly. And so Calendly, what it does is it allows you to align multiple calendars. So for some of you, if you work at a university and you also are a consultant and you also have a daughter who is in violin and you also make pottery, well, you can align all of your calendars so that you don't inadvertently overbook because you failed to look at one of your email accounts. So integration of tools is another fabulous, phenomenal strategy and implement you can use to save you time. Additionally, what can you outsource? You know, what can you delegate? What are those tasks that you've put on your calendar that someone else could do for a small amount that could save you time? Research that. There are so many companies out there like Fiverr, where if you have to make a flyer or you need to make a beautiful PowerPoint and you just don't have the pizzazz, like the gentleman who put this together, you can outsource that. Save yourself that time, spend a little bit of money, and have a fabulous product. Also, efficient emails. If you correspond with me via email, you will notice that I operate with brevity. And why is that? I was taught to kiss, meaning keep it simple, sweetie. If you keep it simple, sweetie, with emails, and you're very clear, and you're very precise, and you're very succinct, there is less opportunity for confusion. So in this technological world, you want to make sure that your communication is clear, precise, succinct, so that you convey the message properly and avoid confusion. Also, saving time also may be supported through virtual meetings. Virtual meetings allow us to meet together in a large group without having to get in that car. If you are in another location, I'm in Houston, and if you can avoid that traffic, you will avoid the traffic. And so virtual meetings allow for time saving. Also, networking, reaching out to other individuals who have a skill set that you can utilize their skill so that you can have products that don't cause you to spend time on things that are not your gift in particular. And from a financial aspect, there are automated systems that you can set up. Other technological implements that I use are the do not disturb on the phone, which allows you that time to be uninterrupted so that you can focus. And another one that I love to share with people, and when they use it, the feedback is just incredible, is unsubscribe. You know how you go to the store and they ask you for your email address, and then you never go to that store again? And then you go through your email and you have to go through all of the emails. You have to go through this email. You thought you wanted to be in this organization, so now you're getting that newsletter. You went to this event, so now you're getting that newsletter. Unsubscribe. That will save you so much time. You won't have to sift through that correspondence, and you can get to the nitty gritty of what it is that you need to focus on. Now we're going to do an exercise. And this is one of my favorite time management tips. Multitasking is a misnomer. So what do I mean by that? What I want you to do is, where you're seated, I want you to look to your right, find an object, and fixate on it for 10 seconds. Now, I want you to look to your left, find another object, fixate on it for 10 seconds. Now, let's come back together. Now, on the count of 3, I want you to look at both items at the same time. Aha, you can't do it. So multitasking sets us up to waste time many, many times. When we're focused on 2 things, that's when the errors come in. And when those errors come in, think of all of the cleanup that occurs. So my next tip to save time is to slow down. When you slow down and you are intentional, you minimize the potential for errors, which allows you to close those circles of those important items that must be completed. Also, consider your peak performance times. For instance, my peak performance time, when Michelle is really in the groove, is 10 to 2. Now I can function before 10 and I can function after 2, but when I'm hitting on all cylinders, 10 to 2. So when I have very heavy tasks to do, I devote and work my hardest to work between 10 to 2. And take breaks. Take breaks, get you some water. Take care of yourself. And your time will be maximized. Start early to avoid procrastination. That rush that we think is the thing that motivates us, well, it's a lot of that is fear. So start early. Use those last moments to refine so that whatever you produce is stellar and you can be proud of it. Habit stacking. This is stacking habits on top of each other. For instance, while you're brushing your teeth in the morning, have the Windex there. Spray the mirror down so that the mirror stays clean. And you take care of those 2 items and you have a clean mirror all week. And there are other things that you can do to habit stack so that you save time. And eat the frog first thing in the morning. Now, what is that? Yuck. Eating a frog first thing in the morning doesn't sound very appetizing. Exactly. Do the difficult thing first. When you do the difficult thing first thing in the morning, then the rest of the day is easy. So again, reflection. How are you spending your time? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. I'm sorry, just a moment. Let me, oh, I'm sorry, so sorry, guys. This was going so great. Let me look here. No, huh. I just can't find the time. There are so many instances where I work with someone and they think that they can literally go about finding the time by looking under papers and folders. And I'm here to tell you, you won't find the time. You have to make the time. Remember, you have 24 hours in a day. How are you going to chop it up? What are you going to say no to? What changes will you make to maximize the time that you spend on any given task? This is one of my favorites, and I want to see this in the chat. Stay ready, and you won't have to. Let me see in the chat. Stay ready, and I know. Okay, here it is. Stay ready, and you won't have to get ready. Another time-saving mechanism, especially for all of us, high flyers. Stay ready. Have the presentation ready to go so that when you get tapped on the shoulder, you're ready. Have the headshot ready to go. So when the event comes up, just send it. Have the shoes ready. Have the bag ready. Have the ink in your printer ready so that when the opportunity comes up, you don't have to go to the store and the ink is out. Stay ready and you don't have to get ready. That is another powerful time-saving mechanism. Now, I must say this. Each day with time, the beautiful part about it is when we wake up, we get a fresh start. So let's talk about that. Because sometimes, as I'll quote, sometimes life lives. Sometimes we get the flat tire. Sometimes we hit traffic. Sometimes there are those unforeseen circumstances that we did not know were going to occur at all. So what do you do with time? You make deposits, especially in relationships and business. It should be that you are known as your MO, your modus operandi being that you are credible, responsible, that someone can depend on you, so that when you get the flat tire, there's concern and not, sure, flat tire. As you show up on time, as you deliver because you use your time properly, you get credit. And as you make adjustments, celebrate. Make time to celebrate your growth. I must say, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. These are just some of the tips that I love to share regarding how to master your time and master your life. This is my social media information. I would love a follow from you if you're able to. Additionally, I do go deeper. And so I do provide time management coaching, and we look at Eisenhower's matrix and we look at long-term planning. There is a QR code here. And so perhaps during the break, you can give me some specific feedback on how I can refine and deliver this so that it's actually a blessing to women. And finally, in closing, I want you to consider that time is the only currency you spend not knowing the balance. Use your time wisely. Thank you.